hardening off seedlings, getting ready to start planting in the next 2 weeks. Hey, flower friends, welcome to the Live Gardening Show. It is your friend in flowers, Lisa Mason Ziegler, and look, how beautiful is this, y'all? I just love baby plants. And this stage is one of my favorite because these are probably a week away from being planted out in the garden. They're just the perfect size. This is Salvia Blue Better. And you know, today's show is all about getting back to the basics of seed starting. Here you go, sister. Put these, we're gonna need these again. So I'm just gonna put that there. Trying not to cream babies. So friends, let me just, today we are just, I'm gonna kind of give everybody just that maybe that little crash course that we might need to get back to the basics. I'll bring you an update here on the farm in the show today, what we're harvesting. We have some beautifulness to share with you today. And friends, the pre-orders are open on the calendar and y'all have already overwhelmed us and we're just so very, very thankful and proud and just so excited. And today in the studio, the Bouquet Studio, Susie Q is doing a pumpkin arrangement. So I can't wait for y'all to see that. We're doing our live drawing for those of you that are watching in the app. And then as always, we're going to do a little Q&A at the end of the live show. So if you have a question you'd like for me to try to answer, just put it in the comments at Lisa and whatever your question is, and they'll feed me a few of those when we get to the end. So friends, I want to thank you so much for sharing the word about our live gardening show. And I don't know if you know it or not, but down at the bottom of your screen, that little box with the arrow in it, that is how you can share and invite your friends to come over here and join us. And we just we're appreciative when you do that, and we just love having new people join us all the time. Now, when you go to place your order, please double check your email address and your phone number here inside the app. Make sure they are valid or we cannot ship an order to you. And remember that here inside the app, seed only orders ship for free. We take care of the shipping on those. And then there's also a cap in here on product shipping. So no matter how many items you purchase, you only pay $11.95 once. And friends, we do ship to all 50 of the United States with no international shipping available. Now, if you just discovered us on social media, I'm so glad you're here, but I want you to know we have a free app that'll just up your experience. You can just jump over to your phone's app store, search Gardener's Workshop, and download our shop app. And we'll be right here waiting for you and come back over. It doesn't take but about 30 seconds to do it because when you're in there, you can join in the giveaway, the replays, and just be more a part of the show. We'd love for you to be with us over there. So friends, we also typically sell out of things during the live show that we talk about. And if you go to an item to put it in your cart and it says out of stock, I would say get notified. That means that if the team is perhaps bringing more stock over from our website, you'll get a notification, or when it is just normally restocked, you'll just get a ding on your phone that says, hey, it's back in stock. And lastly, my friends, if you're seeing people post the sunflower emoji, which you can see on our logo, those are the TGW family sending us some love. Those are our online course students and members of my private flower farming club. And we just love it when y'all do that. We just love knowing that you're here. And friends, if you're in the app, we are giving away a $25 store credit today. And hit the button to be put on that list that we'll pull from at the end of the live show, and you do have to be here to claim it. And so hit that button and that will put you on the list. And excuse me, we love doing that. So friends, we always try to kick off the show with my resources that can just help you no matter what stage you're in. That would start with the book, the Cut Flower Handbook. This is a book that if you want to grow cut flowers or start gardening or start flower farming, this book has everything you need about how to set up your garden, what to grow, and then everything after that. This book includes the bonus when you buy it from us of the 6 flowers that we couldn't fit in the book. The book features 66 flowers, then we have 6 more for you in the PDF download. I would love to sign one of these for you. And then my book that came out a couple of years ago, y'all, is Vegetables Love Flowers, and it's really not about vegetables, y'all. It's about why vegetables love growing in the presence of flowers, and doing that with a little cutting garden is a really great solution. This book really goes over and includes my philosophy of how we farm and garden here, and what our pest control. And so Vegetables Love Flowers is available, and this book actually comes with the bonus of a video book study when you purchase the book here at the Gardener's Workshop. So I would love for you to get one of those, and kind of really helps you just to understand the whole system, right? And then, of course, the book that started it all, y'all, Cool Flowers. This is the first step to learn about how to grow cool season hardy annuals in your garden. This helps you to figure it out for your conditions, right? And so this little book, it's an easy read, y'all. It's only 160 pages, but this really explains the cool flower concept, and it also comes with a free video book study. Would love for you to have this book. Actually, all 3 of them. They have a little bit of overlap, but it's overlap that's needed. And so would love for you to have all 3 of those. And friends, I have a new resource that is coming out, and we've opened pre-orders this week to the public, and I just can't wait till you have this in your hands. So we have a proof of the cover. This is just the cover of the calendar. And so this is a 12-month calendar, and it includes this is over here, this instruction sheet, which is this full size of this calendar, takes you step by step to find the 8 different succession plantings for your garden where you fill it in. And then the back sheet has all these additional tips, right? Each month has additional tips on the bottom. Friends, this is a 12-month, and we call it an any year calendar because you're going to fill in the actual dates and the year. That means that you're not restricted to 2026 or 2025. And so this calendar pre-order has just opened. The first printing will be shipping in late November. And so I want you, especially our people that watch our shows, to get in on the first printing. So pre-order now. It's $39.95 plus shipping. And I have lived off this calendar and these steps for 15 years. That's what's really made me into a 3-season cutting gardener. And so I can't wait for you to have it in your hands. You know, I write about it in all my books, and it's designed for you to input the dates for your area. This does not come to you pre-filled out of when to plant. It has the steps, the equation, if you want to look at it that way, of you to fill out your frost dates and your winter lowest temperature, so it works for all regions. It is neutral. Sorry, I couldn't get that word out. So this is 20 inches by 30 inches, and that's part of what makes it so amazing, because you can use each day is like 2 inches by 4 inches approximately, plenty of room to write. It comes spiral bound. It'll have a wire hanger in it, and pre-order now. So Suzanne has this is a black and white proof, y'all. This is what 1 month's calendar. Look how big these squares are. And part of my instruction or recommendation that comes on the calendar, the guide, it tells you what I write in the different days of the week, so that it makes this calendar becomes the most amazing journal for you to look back on in the coming years. Yes, Kelly.
Someone says, is it a wipe off, or will we need to buy it every year?
Yeah, no, it is not a wipe off, because it becomes a journal. So yes, you buy a new calendar every year. And I will tell you, I'll be posted on social here soon, but you may have seen the video of how I pull out I have 13 of these, the last 13 years. I pull these out in January and go over month by month to see notes that I've made, flowers I may have forgotten about. And so no, that is a big part of what makes this so very successful is it becomes a journal. So no, it is not a wipe off. So friends, get on the pre-order list because I would love for you to get in on the first printing, right? So the tip of the day, so I can't see the TV as well. Let's see here. So cool flower tips. So we are still starting cool flowers now. I'm preparing to direct sow out in the garden in the next 2 weeks. So what are cool flowers? You know, we talk about that, but cool flowers is the name of a book that I wrote about the family of flowers called Cool Season Hardy Annuals. And I fall plant, and you should fall plant those that survive your winter lowest temperature, which all the resources teach you about that, and that equation is what's part of that calendar to help guide you to figure out what you can fall plant. So why in the world would you start your own seeds? Well, for cool flowers, you know, it's the difference between planting what you want and planting what maybe you can get your hands on. And I will tell you that there are few, if any, Cool Season Hardy Annuals available in the fall, much less cut flower varieties, right? So you're just really, really limited. There's just a small fraction of plants that are offered for sale. And so the only way to get truly cut flower variety plants is to start from seed, right? So what is the best way to start from seed? You look to the seed for that direction. Some of them prefer to be started indoors. Some of them prefer to be out in the garden. It's not about what is convenient for you. The way that the plant prefers really boils down to what is the easiest way to get the seed to sprout, right? And that information is included on every one of our seed packets and on our website, so you never have to guess. So today, I'm going to be talking about starting indoors. And I start most of my seeds, not all of them, in soil blocks most of the time. So what do seeds need to sprout and grow? They need warmth, light, and moisture. And so the heat thing is really important, and people get confused with Cool Season Hardy Annuals. While they don't need it hot like warm season annuals like zinnias and stuff need, they still need warmth. The temperature actually tells the seed or triggers the seed to know when to sprout, right? So soil, the mass of soil, like a little block or a little pot, literally is 15 to 20 degrees cooler than your air temperature. So let's just say your house is 70 degrees. That means if you have little soil blocks or a little pot of something, that soil is probably about 55 degrees. It is 15 to 20 degrees cooler than the air temperature. Most seeds in general need 75 to 85 degrees soil temperature for them to actually get warm and sprout, right? So warm season seeds we put directly onto the seedling heat mat in their tray. However, cool season seeds, which they don't need it hot, they just need it warm, remember? So I use a cookie cooling rack. That's right, the rack that you put your cookies on. I just set that on top of my heat mat to create a little airspace, and that just cools the mat down just a smidgen from hot to warm. And that's exactly what cool flowers needs. Now, most of the seeds that I start, not all of them, are surface sown, meaning they're firmly seated on the surface of the soil. So because they need light, well, they dry out really, really quickly. So we use burlap to actually just lay on top. It's wide weave burlap. We lay it on the top of the blocks to trap moisture, but that allows air circulation. And I take those trays of blocks off of the heat when I see that about 50% of them are showing signs of life. Just the seed cracking or a little sprout is up. That's when you move them off of the heat over to the light. Now, seedlings need light to grow, and they need light that is for 16 to 18 hours a day. If you've ever grown seedlings that get really tall and rangy, that's because they're searching for light, y'all. They need 16 to 18 hours to stay short and stocky. So that salvia I showed you earlier if it's almost 4 weeks old, if it had not been under a grow light, it'd be this tall. That's not what you want. And the light that you have, your canopy of plants needs to be the appropriate height from the light, and that really depends on what type of light you have, so you have to figure that out. Now, I water every single morning first thing. And when I go out to water, I expect that my blocks are going to be dry. That means that I watered them yesterday morning. They're moist all day. They're getting drier. They're getting drier. Overnight, they're pretty dry. Well, guess what happens during that dry period? Those roots are getting oxygen, and that is really important. So we water the tray from the side. You never pour water right onto the blocks. And we pour it on the side, and the water is absorbed from the bottom. And then once a week, I include liquid fertilizer in my watering can to give them a good dose of a meal to keep them off, keep them kind of growing and coming along. And then when they start to get to that 2-inch size, that's when I move them outside. We call that hardening off, to acclimate them to outdoor conditioning. And it really depends on the plant, but we're in the neighborhood of 2 to 3 inches. And my hardening off area, you know, they have a little protection from the wind. They get morning sun. They're protected from the hot afternoon sun because they're under a carport. And so that sheltered spot really allows me to take them out, leave them out there, and this continue my once a day watering in the morning, and not have to worry about them getting over too much sun, and they're getting a little bit of wind. I like to harden stuff off 7 to 14 days before it goes to the garden, and that just sets your plants up to be ready and sturdy to face the elements. And my ultimate size is 3 to 5 inches, whether that's tall or like on rudbeckias, which don't grow tall, they just grow leaves, right? 3 to 5 inches is what you are looking for. So now I want to demonstrate how I actually do all of that stuff, right? So I'm going to demonstrate first. So we're going to put some water in here. Sorry, y'all. Kind of getting my blocking stuff ready. So let's put some water in here. So when you use your blocking mix, I always typically use an entire, that didn't go very good. Let's see. Y'all, I don't want y'all to get dizzy looking at me, right? Okay. So I haven't soil blocked for a couple of days, so I just re-wet the water. So I just poured some water in. When you initially dump a bag of our ready-made mix in here, which is about 20 cups of water, that would take about 6 to 7 cups of water. It's just easy to know where to actually jump off. So I'm just kind of re-wetting at this point. So you want the soil to really be kind of not like soggy oatmeal, but just about. So I keep adding more. It's better to add not so much at one time because you don't want to make soup, y'all. But I will tell you this. If you're having trouble getting the blocks to come out of the tool, it's almost always that the mix is too dry. That's a really common problem because no other seed starting method really calls for such wet soil. So it seems odd, right? All right. This is a potato masher, by the way. That is the best tool for mixing your soil and water. So here's the small blocker. This is the one that I use about almost all the time. And I am pushing it down twice into kind of a little pile of this moistened blocking mix. And then I'm using the potato masher to just strike off the bottom. And then I use flat bottom trays with no drainage holes. So this is our mini tray that holds one set of 20, and I literally just set it on the tray and give a squeeze, and just that quick, y'all, we just made 20 of those blocks. Is that not completely awesome? And now I'm gonna sow, we have some little teeny snapdragon seeds here. We use this aluminum seed pan because it has no static electricity. Little saliva on a toothpick, and y'all just can't even believe how that, I know you probably can't see that, but that little snap seed just jumped right on. Snaps get sown on the surface. So I am just firmly placing them right on the, so you wouldn't sprinkle them on the surface. You want to be sure that they're seated and making good contact with the soil so that when you water from the bottom, the seed gets moisture, right? And literally, this can go really quick. So that's how we sow little teeny seeds. And now I want to make some bigger blocks, which is what I start my sweet peas in. And literally, we're just getting ready to start our sweet peas. All right, so what you're gonna quickly see that this technique is just a little bit different. This is the 2-inch blocker, and you can see these chambers are much larger. And so I'm just pushing it down, and then I'm kind of moving back and forth and gobbling up more soil. The common challenge with this for people just learning is that the 2 end chambers don't get enough soil in them, so that's why you do it that way. Striking off the bottom. And so this is a larger size tray, and 8 of these fit beautifully on it. And y'all, just that fast, we just made 4 2-inch blocks. Now, why do we use the 2-inch block? We do this when the seed is too large to fit into the small blocker, which of course is sweet peas, right? And so I tell people we always use the small one unless we have to use the big one. When you need the big one, you need it, but this uses 12 times the volume of soil of the small one. So I am just gonna drop, if you notice, it made a little indentation in the top. I'm gonna drop a seed into a sweet pea seed, which literally just looks like a pea. And then I'm gonna use the toothpick to push it down in there because sweet peas should actually be covered. So you can do that. Or the other choice is you can just take a little dab of soil, and literally, y'all, that is just how quick and easy that is. And let me just finish this job right now, or these won't get done. There you go. So we just planted our sweet peas, right? All right, so let me show you how you can get started with soil blocking. So with the small blocker, this is the #1 item we have sold since 2005, and that is our soil block maker kit. So this kit includes the small blocker, and these, by the way, are the original Ladbrokes. We import these from England. Just be very aware that there are counterfeit and knockoffs out there. But we sell the original, and we stand behind our tools, and Ladbroke stands behind us. So this is the original Ladbroke. Then it also comes with a 5 set of our reusable foam trays. This tray actually holds 3 sets of 20. It includes the seed pan, toothpicks, and these little wooden markers, which I actually use for as tools on my soil blocks. And then it also includes your choice of either 3 packs of cool season seeds or 3 packs of warm season seeds. You select that at checkout. And it also includes my Seed Starting Made Easy online course, which takes you from the beginning through growing them up, through hardening them off, through getting them out in the garden, plus a session on direct sowing out in the garden. You have lifetime unlimited access to this, so it's yours once you get the kit. And then it also comes with a bag of our ready-made blocking mix. This little 6-quart bag will make 600 of those little blocks, or 30 of the big blocks. Is that not incredible? So this kit includes all of this plus the blocker, and it's $89.95, and you're set up to soil block. You can quickly make the switch. And I will tell you that not only is it space savvy, but it really helps you to grow quicker seedlings and healthier ones. All right, so here is the large blocker, and it comes with those white nipples in them. I think we just used it maybe. So the 2-inch blocker makes 4 of the 2-inch ones, and it comes with this white nipple in it to make that indentation that we just planted in, right? This is $46.95. And if you want, and I would highly recommend, say you buy the kit, you want to add on the 2-inch blocker, but you also want to get the inserts, because this is what happens. You pop the white nipples out and just pop these in. And that way you could pot up from the small one to the big one, which is what we do with eucalyptus, tomatoes, and peppers. And these are $9.95. And when you have the big one and the small blocker and the insert, you're set to start any seed. And you will be ready to roll. So we showed, these are the reusable foam trays. Y'all, these are not intended to be thrown away. We use them for years. We have the mini, which is a 5 by 5, 5 1/4 by 5 1/4. A 5-pack is $1.95. All of these are available in 25 packs. The small one, which holds 2 sets of 40 or 8 of the large ones, is $2.95. Here is the large tray that actually comes in the kit, and that holds 3 sets of 20. And all of these, as I mentioned, come in 25 packs. That way you're set to start any number of seeds that you actually want. Now, here is that seedling heat mat that I mentioned. So you can put 4 of those trays side by side here, and it has a built-in thermostat. So if your air temperature, what I recommend for cool season seed starting is that the air temperature be between 65 and 70 degrees. That heats this up 15 to 20 degrees over that, right? Which makes it really the perfect temperature. So this stays plugged in 24/7 as long as there's trays on there. This is $39.95, and you will find that your seedlings sprout quicker and more uniform when you actually use heat. Oh, here is that burlap, y'all. So this is the wide weave burlap that we lay onto our soil blocks. And so this comes in a 3-foot square approximately piece, and it's $3.95, or you can get a 3-pack for $9.95. You can cut it to your tray size, which is what this is all about, right? So whatever you want to do, you pull it back in the morning, you do your watering, and then you place it back on. You always remove the burlap when you see your first sprout, because you don't want your seedlings to pop through the holes, because then you'll rip them out the next day. So as soon as you see life starting, you take the burlap off. It has done its job. All right. So I frequently get asked, how do I have such beautiful seedlings? Well, this is part of it, y'all. This is what I add to the watering can on Mondays. This is the Neptune's Harvest Seaweed Fish. It's $18.95. It's 1 tablespoon to a gallon, so this really lasts. And I follow the house plant on here instructions, and I do that once a week up until they get planted. And you can also use this out in the garden and also as a foliar feed. So it is a great, we have just used that for years and years and really love it. And so y'all, here is one of my new favorite things. We've been using it, but we're now able to offer it. This is the compost tea bags. There is one somewhere. It looks just like a Lipton tea bag, y'all, except that it's full of compost, high quality compost. And you use it to add, yep, here it is. Look at that baby. And so you use it to water with after it's steeped to just add that healthy microbiology you need. And it's 1 tea bag per gallon of water. So what I do is when I finish, I do this on Fridays. I don't do it every week. I do it when I remember to do it, right? So on Thursdays when I water and I fill my stuff back up, I just drop this in, and the next morning it's steeped and I water with it. You can actually just rip this open and put these in your pots or your soil mix or whatever you want to. And it just really puts good science back into your blocks. So a 12-pack is $18.95. And it's just another way to get your plants that biology they need, and then you send it to the garden, right? So it's all good stuff. Now, the deal of the day, we're trying to help you get ready for cool weather, and this sale is on until Sunday at 8 East.
11,
Oh, that's right. So this sale is available here in the app and on the website, and it's going to go through midnight Sunday. And so that is on our floating row covers, y'all. You can never have enough row cover. And so they are 20% off. And so what I use these for, this is the lightest weight. This is the only one that I use. And I use this lightweight because it allows the maximum light in. And we primarily use it to protect our seedlings from, or our beds from whipping winds and grazing varmints. But yet it still allows the light to get in, right? Love using it for direct sown stuff or to covering up our transplants. It is lightweight and reusable. It is not stretchy like our insect netting is. We can use it because it is so light with or without hoops, which you'll find over on our website. It has 4 degrees of cold protection. And here in the app, we have, it's all 6.5 feet wide, right? In the app, we have 20 foot, 50 foot, and 100 foot, and they're all marked on sale here in the app. It's $10.36, $21.56, and $34.36. So that's 20% off. But over on our website, we have even longer sizes available, and they're on sale too. So don't order your row cover when cold weather is on your forecast, y'all. You have to be ready for that. And so that is our floating row cover, and this is what it looks like out in my garden when I use it with the hoops and the weight bags. And again, I primarily use it for wind protection. And you just can't believe how much it enhances the growing of your cool season flowers when they're not being whipped and rocked by cold weather, right? Or cold wind. So these are our anchor bags. Now the anchor bags are what we actually fill them up with. Suzanne's bringing one up here. There's a full one right there. We fill them with either sand, soil, or gravel. Ours is, and it's 15 pounds. I'm telling you, ladies, you do not have to do any other weight-bearing exercise when you move in weight bags all the time, which I'm telling you is what changed my world, right? So these bags come in a 10-pack, a 20-pack, or a 10-pack, a 30-pack, and a 60-pack. And so this is what we use to hold the row covers, the insect netting down in the garden, and this is what it looks like kind of up close. We put 3 on each end and then 1 at the foot of each hoop, or if you're just laying them flat, using it for direct seeding, you just put a bag on each corner and then about every 10 or 12 feet. You'll never have enough rate bags, y'all.
And we usually take the bathroom scale out and fill up
That's
one
right.
and weigh it until it's around 15 pounds, and then we kind of know how much it needs and just
Eyeball
fill them
it.
up, eyeball it after that.
Yeah, so we just eyeball it. Good point, sister. All right, so insect netting. So this looks like row cover, but it's very different, y'all. The only thing they have in common is they're both white, right? So this is a stretchy nylon. It is actually made to keep flying pest insects from being able to access your plants. You use it just like row cover. Put it on hoops and it protects your plants underneath there, right? Which that worked great for. I use that. However, I also use this for what I call a sun cap. I do that application we were just talking about, but instead of weighting the sides down, we pin the sides up using big clips, and that creates a sun cap. And I use this instead of row cover for a couple of reasons. One thing, this is so much easier to work with. It's more durable. It's nylon fabric instead of being the row cover fabric, and it's stretchy. But this allows more light in and more heat to escape. And so I do that to create what we call a sun cap. For cool flowers, if we plant and then all of a sudden it climbs to 85, which happens here, it has this little shade top on it that really protects our seedlings. A sun cap is pretty amazing. So the insect netting comes in 20, 50, and 100-foot pieces. And you will find it also on our website. The 20-foot piece is $33.95. This is much more durable than row cover. We use insect netting in warm to coolish weather. You use floating row cover when it's cool to cold outside, right? All right, so anybody else a container gardener like I am? I love planting containers, and I fight squirrels getting up into my pots and uprooting plants. So we made what we have called the container protection kit. So this comes, so my containers are all pretty big. Here's a picture. So this is what I'm getting ready to show you how to do. This is a big, like a whiskey half barrel. with the grow-through installed, and then we just lay the insect netting over top of it, and we use our flexi tie like a belt to hold it down, and it totally keeps the creatures out, y'all. It's like the best thing ever. My lettuces and all those things that are out there. So that is what this is. Here's the grow-through. It's a 12-inch, but it doesn't have to be the width of your container. It is purely used, it's got the legs, to just suspend it to hold the insect netting off of your plant. So it doesn't have to be as big as your pot. So you get this 12-inch grow through with 18-inch legs. You get a piece of our flexi tie. We love this stuff. It'll hold a knot, but you can tie a bow, put it around, tie a bow, and then you can undo it. Totally love that. And then it comes with a 6x6 piece of the insect netting. So this means that, let's say you plant your pansies. Once they get acclimated and rooted in, it's not quite the problem. So you just cover them until they're established. Then you can take all of your, things that you've used, the wall you've built around your stuff. So
Keep the squirrels
to
out.
keep the squirrels out, it's $21.95. The grow through is also available individually here in the app. It's $11.95, and again, it's a 12-inch grow through, and the support legs are 18 inches. You want to talk about that stuff, sister?
Hey guys, Suzanne. I'm always trying to fix the camera for her. All right, so now we have our tough gloves. These are the Atlas gloves, and these are the black ones. You may have heard us speak that we wear the black ones when it gets a little cooler outside or when we need to do some heavier work. This works great for heavy duty work when you're out raking leaves, or, excuse me guys, it's just not straight. It's driving me crazy. All right. When you're raking leaves or moving concrete or picking up wood, it just has a double dip of the nitrile coating on here. I have a large hand for a woman. I cannot wear gloves off the shelf. This is a medium. They're unisex sized. So medium is going to fit a woman with a large hand, small, extra small for our more petite or smaller women. And this comes in small to extra large. So if you have a big guy, this is gonna fit great on their hands. And it lets you do little things. We have cousins that milk cows in these. FedEx drivers use these when they're moving all their boxes, and we just would not garden without them. Wash them. I wash them while they're on my hands and hang them to dry, or you can throw them in the washing machine and then hang them to dry. And a 1-pack is $8.95, and then you can get a 4-pack for $31.95. And I love to throw these in a basket, and when I'm having people over for Christmas, I just pass the basket around, and they can try them on and figure out which one they want. And they love them, and we just would not garden without these guys. All right, next we have our gauntlets. These were originally called the rose gloves because they have this really thick double layer of material here on the palm so that you can wrestle any of those rascals in the garden.
Blackberry brambles.
Yes. Wildlife, we retrieve wildlife with this as well, but it works great for roses or even for a pumpkin on a stick. They have really long thorns on those as well. These are also unisex size. They come from small to extra large, and I also wear a medium in these, and I have a large hand for a woman. So $39.95. Anybody that has a yard would love these.
Poison ivy protection.
Yes, poison ivy, and these are also all man-made materials, so you can just throw these in the washing machine and hang them to dry. So if you get poison ivy on them, it'll just wash right off. And great gift. They would love them. All right, next up, we have a reminder giveaway. And if you're not already, hit the wait list button, hit that now. You do need to be present, but at the end of the show, we will call out the winner and we will put this $25 credit in your cart. Okay, next we are going to
Bouquet Studio.
do the Bouquet Studio. That's me. Okay, guys. Today, we're going to do a little pumpkin. Can you get my bucket of flowers, Lisa?
Yeah.
So this is my little pumpkin Susie got for me.
My favorite color.
And this morning I carved it. I just cut the top out. I put my little, you can see there's a mason jar in here, and I just put the mason jar upside down and drew a line around it. And this mason jar is actually square on the bottom, so I ended up having to square out the hole a little bit to get it to fit down in there. And as a reminder, I put water in here, and you all want to remember This is not coming up right now. This is our flower food. You just want to remember to put that in your water when you're doing arrangements. It really does extend the life of your flower, and you can find that in the app. So I picked some pretty fall colors, and I'm going to do my bouquet a little bit different today and make it super easy for anybody that wants to do it. Let's just move our pumpkin aside a second. So what I'm going to do is make a little bunch of flowers. And then I'm going to rubber band them, and we'll make 3 little bunches, and we'll stick them all into our pumpkin. So this means you don't have to be intimidated by flowers at all. Pick 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 flowers you like. I'm just going to take these and make a little bunch out of them. And let me show you these hyacinth beans. I love these. Look how they're kind of hanging over, so I'm going to hang one of these out in front. I have 2 marigolds, I've got some celosia, and then I have a few zinnias.
Look at these beauties.
I only need 2. So I'm going to take 2 zinnias. Is there 6? There's 6 there. Okay. I'm taking 2 zinnias, 2 marigolds. I have the hyacinth mahogany hibiscus, and then I have the hyacinth bean over here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my pumpkin over, and then I'm going to hold it up and try to figure out how tall I want it. And you can always cut it shorter. So I don't know where the compost bin is. So I'm going to cut it, and then I'm just going to take a little rubber band and rubber band it together. And I think it's going to have to be shorter than this, but we can do that at the end. So I'm going to rubber band it, and since you can't see through this pumpkin, you can just leave the rubber band on if you want. You don't have to take it off later. But this needs to be way shorter, so I'm going to cut a little bit more off. And then we're just going to make 2 more bunches like this. You could make 5 more depending on how many flowers you are and how big your arrangement is. And again, we may end up cutting this a little bit shorter. So I got a mahogany Splenda. I've got a orange marigold, a yellow marigold. These beautiful plumes, they have great bright color. And then I'm going to get 2 zinnias. And here we have little zowie. Isn't it cute? It's the perfect fall zinnia. And then we'll grab another zinnia here to put in there. And again, what a great little bunch. I'm just going to cut it about the same height as this one. Use that as a... And then you can either, I would rubber band them separately. And again, you want to keep all the foliage out of the water, so any of these low-lying branches here, I'm just going to pull off so that they don't make the water yucky.
Not only that, they suck the life out of the vase and they're not doing a job.
Yep, exactly. You don't want to hydrate anything you don't have to. The more work the water can do on the flowers that you have instead of the foliage. So I'm putting some little rubber bands I got. So we're making that one. Now we're going to do another one. Again, the mahogany hibiscus. And I was putting these kind of low because I kind of want them to cover up the top of the pumpkin. And you can always add flowers to this after you're done. So we have our spike. Oh, I forgot to put my hyacinth bean on that last one. I'm going to have to add that. A couple of zinnias. And this will just give you a great little form to make your bouquet. So here's my hyacinth beans sticking out. We're going to have them sticking out all the way around like spider legs. All right, so now I'm going to cut this about the same height.
All too long.
All too long, but we're going to trim them. We'll do that in a second. Got my little rubber band. Can you get me some more mahogany Splenda, because I'm going to need that around the sides, I think. So here I have my 3 little bunches. I don't know yet. So I have my 3 little bunches, and we're going to stick them in here and see what that does. Actually, it's pretty cute, but I still think that it is, I brought a Lazy Susan today. I still think they're a little tall, so I'm just going to take them all. Come here, baby. Let go. I'm going to take them all and just give them a little trim, probably a couple of inches. Lost the rubber band. So let's see if that's better.
Oh, yeah.
And then the mahogany, you see I don't know if y'all can see the look at the hyacinth beans hanging out. I might have cut that a little bit shorter, but, and then I forgot one on one side. Did you take my clippers?
I don't know, they were laying here.
Yeah, you did.
That's what's wrong with laying your stuff down around here.
Yep, okay.
I love those orange spikes, and that's from Texas.
Yep.
Texas plumes, they are
And
gorgeous.
then this mahogany Splenda, or you could get basil if you have basil. You just want to cut it a little bit shorter, and that way
happen to have
it can go in and cover up any of your mechanics. And just look how cool this looks. It is so Halloweeny, isn't it, with the dark.
And see what green would do for that.
Yeah. So you just want to cover up any of those. And you could add more flowers too if you want.
That looks cool, sister.
But aren't they pretty cute? And there's greenery here. You could also add some of that if you want to make it just look a little fuller.
And fragrance. So
Yes.
the basil adds.
This smells like licorice. What is not more Halloweeny smelling than licorice, huh? So we've got some more basil. So there you go. And it was just 3 simple little bunches of flowers. All of a sudden is this really cool arrangement. And that would be great for a little Halloween party. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't be afraid to mess with your flowers. It's really easier than you think, and everything looks great. This has a lot of stuff hanging off, but I think it's really cool for a Halloweeny kind of vibe. So
Turn around, hold. Let me take your
Okay.
picture, sister. Always take pictures, y'all.
that's right. Take pictures of all. Send them to us, please.
Wait a minute, what when it drinks all the water?
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Kelly wanted me to show you. So how would you get water in this? It has a little jar in the middle. We would use our long-handled
Long spout.
long spout watering can, and then you just dig through to find the spot where you can actually see the glass, and then you can fill it, because these fresh flowers will drink a lot of water. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Next we have our harvest from today, and Lisa's going to show you what we got.
All right, well, I want to show you something else first because I didn't show them to you. I showed them at the start of the show, but not afterwards. This is the tray of 100 of the soil blocked plants. So there's 100 of those little blocks under here. This is Salvia blue bladder. It's about a couple weeks away from going to the garden. And I wanted just to share this. This is a tray of feverfew that was started on the same day as that salvia you just saw. So this is just a reminder that seeds sprout and grow, different varieties sprout and grow at very different rates. Both started the same day, sitting side by side, and that's just the type of variety, right? So that is the scoop on don't be frustrated if something is slower. That's just the way it goes. All right. Huh?
I wondered if you'd already done it.
No, I haven't. So friends, I always like to remind everybody when we start looking at flowers, you always buy flower seeds when you meet the flower, when you see it. And then you get it and you just actually store it in your, what I call the seed vault, which is just wherever you keep your seeds. We file ours by warm and cool so that we know which season they need to be started in. And these are the desiccants that we put in with our seeds that absorb any moisture. Keeping your seeds cool and dry is the secret to long vitality. All right. So Kelly, can we do the kale first and get that? So I also, and then I'll, gosh, it scared me. And then
We're a little spooky around here. Woo.
Yeah, it's getting spooky around here, y'all. So I know many of you planted your cut flower kale. Look how tall this stuff is, y'all. And it's not really time to cut kale yet. And that's what I wanted to actually show you. How beautiful is this? But the center is not even really developed yet. I mean, if I wasn't aware, I'd think, wow, that's pretty cool. I guess I can use that. Y'all, it's this last month. You know, we're October 3rd. It's going to be November 3rd, probably, when these guys have colored up a little bit once they get a few little cold snaps and they develop a thicker, more petals, and not petals, but leaves in the middle that look like petals. And I'm going to show you the way I would strip it, assuming that it was more developed, right? So I've already stripped all of this. There it is. Yep, let me have that, please.
It was in the Texas.
I wanted to look on there and see if you see a caterpillar. All right, so this is how I would use it if I was using it in a bouquet. So Now, just imagine that the center was totally filled in. This is what this is actually all about. So you strip all this mess off, right? So a really common problem with any flower in the brassicas family, but I want to tell you that it happens to zinnias and sunflowers. Did you find him?
No.
So
I think he's on a celosia now.
I had one on this little marigold, but he's gone now. Those cute little green inchworms, y'all. Those are moth larvae, and this is the type of damage that they do. This is what gets in your broccoli and your cauliflower and destroys everything. Well, this is one of the leaves on my kale. Now, I used the insect netting until my kale got this tall, and then I had to uncover them. So what do we do to protect them? This is the only organic insecticide I have used in the past decade and a half. This is actually a biological, this is BT. It's the same type of product as the mosquito bits that you put in bird baths that's safe for birds and horses to drink and dogs to drink. It only targets specific insects. And for this to actually work, this is powder. You mix it with water and spray it on to your plants. And it only targets anybody that actually ingests the leaf. So it has to be a leaf-eating caterpillar to actually be affected. So this is Dipel, which is, we just brought this out last week because I instantly, when I saw this 3 weeks ago, I knew that I was going to have to do something to keep my cut flower kale. But I want to just mention that it's not just kale. You'll find those inchworms at the center of some of your flowers gets dirty really quick, like they get mushy. That is a caterpillar larvae, and that's what this is for. So this is, I believe this is it $40.95. This is good for 3 years. You just store it in a dry place, and you'll be set. So that's how you prevent that damage from actually happening. And I just can't believe that little fella made the getaway. I found him yesterday. All right, I was going to show you one. All right, so out of the gate, that hyacinth bean Susie Q used, this is a vine. It grows on our big trellis tunnel that's out there. It is an incredible bumblebee crop. Look at this pretty little flower. You can almost see, it looks like a little sweet pea flower that blooms before you get the actual beans. This is such a fun tablescape, use in bouquets, a great bumblebee crop. And if you want to learn how to make that trellis tunnel, we have a free online course when you download our Learn app, just like you downloaded this app, but the other one is called Learn. And this free course is in there waiting for you, and that's what you would grow this on. So this is a favorite color year round, but it is particularly useful in fall. This is Crystal Beauty Coxcomb. And look at that. It's almost like a muted salmon, y'all. It's just really useful and beautiful. And here's the tip of the week. See how clean the sides of this is? This is actually a fan type coxcomb. That's how it should be cut. This is too old. See how it's black looking on the side? That's because that's seed. You would never, ever sell it that way. And if you put it in a bouquet on your table, you'll have black seeds everywhere and you'll have a little spider friend. You know, we're all about spiders around here. You know, they eat nothing but other bugs, right? They're good guys. So this is Flamingo Feather. Totally love this, and it really changes color in the fall. This is our third succession, and Bobo wanted me to tell y'all, cut it about 4 inches from the ground, and it continues to grow these really tall, beautiful, straight stems. She loves this stuff, and so do we, and that's Flamingo Feather. This is one that we grow all summer, and we love it for fall also. This is Ageratum, y'all. Look at that. This is the stage to harvest. The fuzziness should start happening in the vase with the end user, right? Look how pretty. Blue just makes everything else pop. And then look, y'all, I'm so proud of these. This is our Texas Plume Mix. We actually had this seed grown for us. Look at these beautiful yellow golds, orange, salmons, burgundy, pink. This is perhaps the most diverse. Look at that pretty light color. If you could only grow one plume, this is the one because it has all the different colors. We grow this all season long. They're over 6 foot tall in our garden. So length is not a problem. We love it. And you know, we're in marigold season right now. So this is the Cocoa series, which is really one of my favorite. I mean, look how big these boogers are. And they are bombs for sure. So that is Cocoa Orange. This is Cocoa, look how big they are. This is Cocoa Gold, and this is the stage to cut. Y'all see how it's green in the center? Love, love, love the gold. And then, of course, who doesn't love lemon yellow? I mean, see how green they are in the center? That is the stage to harvest, y'all. This is when they'll continue to develop. These will last 3 weeks in the vase. Look how beautiful. And you know, the foliage makes the smell, not the flower. Remove it if you don't like it, or grow a variety that actually has virtually no fragrance. This is White Swan, which is actually buttercream, not white. It's smaller, but this is such a useful flower. We really love this guy. And here's that foliage Susie Q was using in her bouquet. This is Mahogany Splendor Hibiscus. This is a really productive plant. You do not need much. We only grow like a 5 or 7 foot bed with 2 rows in it, but it looks like a Japanese maple. This really holds up. We use the quick dip hydrator in the harvest bucket that you hear me speaking of, and it never droops. The foliage that Suzanne used earlier was actually last week's Mahogany Splendor. I mean, it just holds up beautifully. So eucalyptus, y'all, September and October are our eucalyptus harvesting months. This is Silver Dollar. This is the first seed that I start out of the gate January 1. First work day back, we start our eucalyptus. It takes about 12 to 16 weeks to get a transplant. And that was Silver Dollar. This is Parvula Gum. Look how small the leaf is. I love it for this. This is the easiest one to use in, oh, here's a Silver Dollar. I did the same thing, Suzanne. I kept thinking that was Parvula. Bingo.
Peppers are a little top heavy.
We just got our floor washed. This is Parvula Gum. Look at the small little leaf. And that makes it really useful. There's a towel over there if you just want to put it against the cabinet if you need to. And the smaller the leaf, the easier it is to incorporate into a bouquet. But look at the dark color. Totally love that. And y'all stand by for this. This is going in my house. Look at this. Look how pretty. This is Polyanthumus, better known as Pollyann. And how beautiful. Totally different leaf structure, right? This is really beautiful. And all of these are first year. They're typically annuals, right? They aren't winter hardy in most places, my place being included, unless they get special care. This is all from seed started in January, and they're about 5 or 6 feet tall. So that is Eucalyptus Polyanthumus. Now, here is a really pretty plume. This is called Shimmer. And if you sell to designers or florists, this is a really great color. And so look at how it's very much the same as Texas. It's just in a different color scheme. And it's got like shrimpies and yellows and kind of an ivory color. That one is really fun. And then foliage, right? We never have enough foliage. This is the one that Suzanne used earlier, Cardinal Basil, that smells like licorice. Look how big the foliage is. I mean, it just poofs up a bouquet really instantly. And Bobo wanted me to tell you about this. This is the second growth after she had cut it all the way to the ground. That is really useful. And again, it just adds fragrance to our bouquets. And y'all know that I'm like all about sunflowers, right? But this is what I want you to understand and see. So just 2 weeks ago, we had those big, beautiful sunflowers. But as the days start to get shorter, even though Pro Cuts are day length neutral, the blooms just get smaller because the day length is shorter. So this is the Pro Cut mix. It has all the different Pro Cut colors, but look how wonderfully small this is. I had customers, commercial customers, that all year said, when are you going to start having the mini sunflowers? So that's how you market these guys, the miniature sunflowers. People love them. So these were planted exactly the same way that I always plant them, same spacing, but they get smaller because of day length. They're shorter too. They're still plenty tall enough, but they're just smaller. And I just want you to know that is a natural happening for that. So friends, pumpkin on a stick. How much of this do you think you could sell at a farmer's market in the month of October? We love using them green. We love using them red. We harvest the fruit that develops down on the lower part of the stem first and putting it in bowls like that. And so this is pumpkin on a stick. It's an ornamental eggplant. And this is something we start in midsummer to have it bearing fruit now. And it definitely needs support. The fruit is, because it fully develops out in the garden, it actually, oh, is this the...
This is hot peppers. I put their fire out because I knocked them over. Tip, don't put tall, top-heavy flowers in a short bucket. You're up, sister.
All right, y'all. I want to show y'all. I'm just going to do this, and then I'm going to talk about
We'll
it.
talk about the peppers first.
Talk about the peppers.
Okay, because they're on there too. All right, so this is our rooster pepper, another seed that we have custom grown. And why is that? It's because they are so blooming perfect for cut flowers. Because all the fruit develops on the top, and the leaf, the foliage that needs to be ripped off is super quick and easy. It is very cost effective. This is a high value floral crop, and it is amazing to use in bouquets. We use it in bouquets green during the summer, and then, oh, I wanted to do that, but anyway, never mind. So we use it green in bouquets. We're a train wreck today. Green in bouquets during the summer, but then as they turn red, we still continue to use them in bouquets. But I'm going to show you my little bundles of these as well as Gomphrena as I'm preparing to head into the wreath making time of the year. So these are the rooster peppers. You have to grow these next year. They branch, we pinch them, we absolutely love them. So this back here, which first I'll show you just these little bunches. This is what we do with the rooster pepper. So when we're preparing for wreaths, instead of cutting those long stems and bringing them in here, literally, Elizabeth and Bobo sit out in the field on a stool and cut the tops off of the plants and rubber band them and make these bunches that can then be hung and dried. And then it's really easy to make the wreaths that I make, which if you're in the Flower Farmer Club, we'll be doing that all winter. And it's just super, I am not crafty at all, y'all. This just makes it really super easy and effective to do it and streamline it and not make a big mess. Now, we have all the different Gompphrenas here. And let me just show you the different ones.
What's first? Rose?
I'll do that, yeah, bicolor rose. So these are all the Audra series. Look at this bicolor. And the very same thing, they literally sit out in the field and just sit in a stool and just clip the tops off and rubber band them so we can easily dry them to make wreaths again, y'all. And so that is the bicolor rose. And then this is the hottest color, y'all. Look how pretty that purple is. Isn't that beautiful? And again, this is why you have to hang them up or lay them right. See how this is not dry yet. It was just done yesterday. So you always want to lay them so that they aren't drooping because they'll dry drooped, right? That's how they get that way. And then here's white, which is really, it kind of, this dries tan. It's the in color, y'all. That is really a great one. And then this is, they call it pink, but Suzanne thinks it's purpley pink. So that is Audra Pink. And then you can also find here in the app the mix, which has all those colors except for the purple in it. That is just really, really fun to actually do. So it's time for us to wrap up, my friends. Remember to stick around to the very end for the Q&A. Just want to remind everybody that over on our big website, thegardenersworkshop.com, we have so many resources for you guys over there. We have videos, the blogs, both of our podcasts, both Field and Garden and Seed Talk with Lisa and Lane. You can check both of those out. And this Wednesday, am I hosting? All right, it's me this week on Ask a Flower Farmer, y'all. Instagram, 3 o'clock on Wednesdays, where you can come and bring your questions, and I'll do my best to answer some of those. And then also remember, so Friday's always the big show. I also do a show on Wednesday at 8 p.m., a specialty show, and then we also do pop-ups. And those are where they're not scheduled. I just pop up and do one. So be sure that the notifications are turned on inside your app so you'll get a ding when it actually happens. Do not forget, my friends, to pre-order the big calendar, because here's the big deal. The first printing is the one that gets shipped the end of November. Once we have to reorder, then that gets pushed back, right? And so if you want to get in on the bonus, and there is a bonus also when you pre-order, that is, you're going to be invited to a live workshop of me walking you through the steps to find your planting windows that will then lead you to be able to easily figure out when your seed starting is. So don't forget to order. And friends, we have a winner, and I hope you're here to claim this. And our winner is Terry Diggs. Terry, if you are here, you have just won a $25 store credit. And as soon as you give us a shout out in the comments, the girls will drop 25 smackers right into your cart. Okay? So Terry Diggs, I hope you're here. Give us a shout out and let us know you're here. All right, for direct sown, should I thin in fall or wait until early spring? Great question. I don't thin until spring. And I actually call it early spring, you said, and that is correct. Once regrowth or growing resumes in very early spring is when I would do it. You want to make sure everybody gets through winter and so forth, so yes. Is the calendar a wipe off, or will it need to be bought every year? Is it laminated? No, it is not laminated, nor is it a wipe off. It's called the calendar journal for a... Oh, Terry's here. Congratulations, Terry. Thank you so much for participating. And the girls are dropping it in your cart right now. A big part of this calendar is the fact that it becomes your garden journal. It is so easy when you kind of follow my recommendations of where you write what on the calendar. It makes it so quick and easy to go back in coming years and look back. And actually what a journal is, what we dream it will be, that is it. So no, you get a new one each year, and you're building the garden or farm and journal of your dreams when you use it. Is it inevitable that cosmos will shed pollen on your countertop? Same question for celosia seeds. So most flowers don't do that until the very end of their life. And so I would say to you that you need to harvest earlier. It's stage to harvest. If you have the Cut Flower Handbook, we show the stage to harvest. Celosia doesn't really shed pollen that I'm aware of. It'll shed seeds, which is almost even worse. Again, you prevent those problems by cutting at the proper stage so that you enjoy them long before that tends to happen to them. What is the name of the dianthus that blooms the first year? So I will tell you the two that don't follow that. I guess the two that we sell that, actually three now, I think. Two that we sell that are first year are the Amazon series and Sweet. We fall plant them both, and they bloom the following spring. And they can also be planted in very early spring to bloom 16 weeks later. Cool flowers. We don't get too cold, but we get lots of snow. What flowers do well with snow load? So I don't know what zone you are, but I would imagine if you get snow, it's cold enough for sure. All the cool season hardy annual seeds that I write about, teach about, and have on our store do not require a cold period except for those two Sweet Williams, Electron and Super Duplex. Everything else benefits from being in the cold and grows better, right? So if you have heavy snow load, I'm not sure when you're talking about, but that is for people that get I have a friend that gets 5 feet of snow and up in Canada, and that's what it is. They plant in very early spring. Fall might not be an option for you. So it's not that the cold kills them. It's that the lack of light and being under snow for so long could be a problem. So I would definitely explore very early spring. So should we cut our grow lights off at night and cut them back on the next morning? They should be, if you're going to actually use a grow light, they definitely need to be on 16 hours a day to really get any benefit. Ours are all on timers because you will not remember. Trust me, we tried. They come on at 6 a.m. and are turned off at 10 p.m. at night. And so yes, you cut them on and off, but timer will fix all of that. Inchworms have eaten almost all the leaves off of my pumpkins on a stick. They are a foot tall and almost leafless, no blooms. Should I pull them or try to save them? So are you sure it's inchworms? Because flea beetles also eat the heck out of eggplant. So the first step is to definitely diagnose and get a positive ID before you take any action. And so I'd say this late in the season, I mean, you're pretty much done. I would leave them and see what happens. But if you don't have blooms with fruit developing on them, I would say you're probably not going to get fruit. And yes, you can actually pull them and make a better plan for next year. I'm new here. Do you offer farm tours? So we typically, I don't promise that we do it every year. Once a year, we typically have an open farm to the public. It's free. People literally come from all over the world and the country almost, right? And it's on a Saturday, usually late in June, and we announce that in our newsletter. So the way to stay in the loop on that is to get our farm news. That's where everything is announced, so you won't miss anything like that. And so we'd love to have you come if that works out. And we also have our warehouse, which is 4 miles away, is open. Does the dipel work on the pesky leaf-footed bugs? No, it does not. So here's the really important thing to remember, that almost any product that you use, particularly if you're organic, is very targeted. That's why this dipel, which is a species of BT, and the insects that actually eat the leaves actually get the insecticide in them. That's why it's so safe to use. Only leaf eaters are going to get it. Leaf-footed bugs do not eat leaves. They destroy the fruit and the flower buds. So no, it will not work for them. Any tips for extending the blooms of sunflowers? I need some for an event on October 18th, and I think they will bloom too soon. Can I put them in a cooler? So what is today? 13th? That's 15 day. So yes, you can put sunflowers in a cooler. However, if the humidity is not proper, which I cannot quote that off the top of my head, you just put that in a search engine. What is the humidity required to store sunflowers in a cooler? If they don't get that, it shrivels the petals, and they'll look like the junk ones in the supermarkets that just look so horrible, and many of the ones that florists use. So I would say, if they're outside growing, don't water them. I'd leave them out in the garden as long as you can. Don't cut them. I'd cut them as they really are just starting to open up. Delay cutting as long as possible, but don't let them get damaged. And then in a cool, do not put flower food in the water. Use just CVBN. Don't use any kind of food. Change the water. CVBN for the first 3 days, then just put them in straight water and change the water every other day. And trim the stems just a little bit. They're going to rot from that up. But having plain water in a very cool condition will slow them down. And don't put them in sunlight. I feel you. But yeah, so you should have planted more. 1 more weeks. We're still bringing in sunflowers from the field. We have like 4 more plantings out there. All right, one last question. During your full production years, on average, how many rooster pepper plants did you start? That's a great question. I will tell you that, so back then our beds were 120 feet long. We'd have at least one bed, and there's 2 rows of peppers in a bed. We don't put 4 rows of them. And we pinch the plants after they're planted. And that means that we probably get 5 to 10 stems per plant. You need serious flower support netting. The flower support netting holds up. It's the stakes. And I almost stake those like I do Lysianthus because the canopy gets so very heavy. All it takes is a torrential rain and they'll all just fall over and then you're done, right? So pay attention to that. And so that was a lot. And I'll tell you that Kathy Jones, who saved that seed, will tell you that she could sell every single pepper wreath that she could make in the month of October, literally. And so if you start using them fresh, then cut them for wreaths, and just October and November have markets to go to and sell the heck out of those boogers. So I hope that helps. All right, my friends, get your calendar. See you. Let's see, today's Friday. I'll see you again next Wednesday night and Wednesday for Ask a Flower Farmer. All right, friends, thanks so much for joining us. We love being here with y'all.